It was a story that galvanised the world.
Britain's Princess Diana has been in an automobile accident.
She'd had quite a severe head injury, but she was very much still alive on the back seat.
I was crying out for help.
And those people that caused the accident, instead of helping, were taking photographs of her dying.
And we had the media, who were completely fascinated by everything we did.
Are they paparazzi in part to blame?
Of course they are.
It was very hard for William and I, knowing that there was absolutely nothing that we could do. We must have been in just this state of shock. For the first 28 years of my life, never talked about it. How is it that so many people that never met this woman can be crying and showing more emotion than I actually am feeling?
It ain't gonna change it. It ain't gonna bring her back.
Every single time I hear a click, see a flash, it takes me straight back.
In a fit of temper, Harry hit a photographer outside a London nightclub.
I will not be bullied into playing a game that killed my mum.
Harry says he and Meghan felt they had no other option but to leave the royal family.
I don't want to be Prince Harry. I don't want this responsibility. You know, look what's happened to my mother.
The death of their mother in 1997 was devastating for both boys. But was one affected more than the other?
I was a typical young kid running around playing games with my brother and being told, you know, Mummy's on the phone, Mummy's on the phone. It's like, right, okay, really want to play, really want to play. And it was her speaking from Paris. How differently that conversation would have panned out if I had even the slightest inkling that you know, that her life was going to be taken that night. I have to live with that for the rest of my life, knowing that I was that 12-year-old boy wanting to get off the phone and wanting to go run around and play games rather than speak to my mum.
The next morning, Harry regretted his decision when his dad gave him some devastating news.
Prince Harry actually asked his father, is it true that Mummy's dead? The children couldn't understand why everything was as normal, except that a couple of hours before they'd been told that their mother had died.
Disbelief, refused to accept it. At that point, I was still, I wasn't there. I was still in shock.
Many people believe that the royal family was treating Diana just as they had done when she was alive.
They're the most cold people on this earth.
Harry's mom thought she'd found her fairy tale love when she met Prince Charles.
Can you find the words to sum up how you feel today, both of you? Just delighted and happy. And I suppose in love.
Of course.
Whatever in love.
But she had married into a nightmare.
Well, there were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded.
Camilla was revealed as Charles's mistress.
Following her messy divorce, Diana was seen as a great danger to the royal family. Charles and the Queen cut her adrift.
They see me as a threat of some kind. And I'm here to do good. I'm not a destructive person.
Diana had gotten so focused on trying to protect her sons that she couldn't protect herself.
And she was so fed up with being chased by guys on motorbikes and in cars that she stopped the car down a side street and went running up to these guys and just shouted and screamed at them while they took photographs. It was very hard for William and I, knowing that there was absolutely nothing that we could do. And just thought, you know, is this supposed to be the way that it's going to be for the rest of our life?
The whole world was heartbroken by Diana's death, including her best friend, Elton John.
Both of those boys are very special to me because of their mother. My heart sank when I saw those 2 boys walking behind the coffin. I thought that was the hardest thing. I can't imagine at that young age having to walk in the public following your mother's coffin.
The royals put their traditions over Harry's grief.
Both William and Harry didn't want to walk.
When is the right time for them to put on their prince hats and carry out duties to mourn not just their mother, but the Princess of Wales in a very public audience? Looking at us then, we must have been in just this state of shock. When the shutters came down and I refused to let myself get sad about the fact that my mother had died, there were certain things that was like someone firing an arrow straight into that barrier. Elton John's song was incredibly emotional. That was part of this whole trigger system which nearly brought me to the point of crying.
His mom was the one person who had always put him first.
It was that love that even if she was on the other side of a room, that you, as a son, you could feel it. To myself and William, she was just the best mother ever. She would just engulf you and squeeze you as tight as possible, and there was no escape. You were there, and you were there for as long as she wanted it to hold you. It's safe to say that losing my mum at the age of 12, and therefore shutting down all of my emotions, has had a quite serious effect
Harry's anger and grief built up for years until the night he exploded.
In a fit of temper, Harry hit a photographer outside a London nightclub.
Every single time I hear a click, every single time I see a flash, it takes me straight back. It's the worst reminder of her life as opposed to the best.
I think he could have had a lot more guidance, especially from his father. He has veered off the rails because he hasn't had the father figure there all the time when he's needed him.
Not many people have asked if I'm okay.
And the answer is it's really been a struggle.
Yes.
For me and for my wife, you know, of course there's a lot of stuff that hurts.